And we look like things are happening here. Yes, indeed, we are live and happy to be here. It's Tuesday, isn't it? Yes. Tuesday the 28th, all day long. I am so excited to be here because it's Tuesday. Okay. I don't know what else to say about Tuesday. It used to be movie night. Do you remember when it used to be a half-price movies? I think it was half-price movies. That was me. Every Tuesday was at the movies, at the cinemas. Yes, I enjoyed it a lot. Me and my best friend seeing movies. And you know what? I don't do that anymore because I don't go out. My name is Sean Shapiro. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, that place on the internet you go to get your traffic and police questions answered. We do our very best. If you're watching and you want to know where to ask those questions, how to get me the question so I can answer it, you can do it by adding it into the chat of YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Twitter, TikTok, if you're in the chat, we see you. I don't see you directly. I have a friend. I have a friend who's actually, she's not here. CJ is not here. I don't know where CJ is. No, there's CJ. Make sure if he's saying that. And CJ helps out by being the executive producer of background cut and paste, by taking your questions from the chat and throwing them into the box that I can actually see it on screen. So very cool. What else can I tell you? What can I share with you? Hopefully the audio is good. Everything's copacetic here. Everyone can hear me. Let's see here. M says good morning. We got Neha. Oh, hey, Neha, how's it going? Rod says hello there. Beener says hola. Nathan says hi. Z4 wants to know why cops have red lights in their vehicle. That's a good. Okay, good. We got Bless who says yes. I guess audio is A-okay. Awesome. What do we got here? So the question was, why do cops have red lights in their vehicles? Do you mean like interior lights? That's an easy one. This should be on all vehicles, quite frankly. White light or light that isn't red causes it affects your night vision, causes your pupils to dilate. But red light does not do that quite as badly. I don't know. I can't say that it doesn't do it at all. But you can see with red light without losing your night vision. Pilots use it. The military use it. Why shouldn't we use it too? It's just so we can see inside the vehicle and not lose our night vision because we need to see in the dark. Yeah. What do we got here? Oh, Gurmeet wants to know about what if there are more people sitting in the car than the number of seatbelts available? Well, that's against the law. Used to be, a long time ago, that there was what's that loophole? There's a loophole that you could actually get away with that, and that is gone. Loophole is being closed. Used to be that if everyone who had seatbelts was wearing them, then extra people didn't count. That's being closed because that's not safe. So so that's the deal. You cannot. Everyone in the car has to be in a space that has a seatbelt for them, and if not, they can be charged. That's it. Chase wants to know, is available at the 808. What is available at the 808? Oh, the shirt. No, the shirt is not available at the 808. This is actually, I think, the only one in this color. We did a sample to test it out. Normally, they're black on black. I did a gray on black when I went to Ottawa to speak with the Traffic Injury Research Foundation. I wanted something to stand out, so I tried it out to see if it would be better. So now I got a one of a kind. What do we have here? Harley raffle has started again. Yes, it has. Thank you for bringing that up. I think I have a caption for that. HarleyRaffle.ca. Let's see. Do I have it? Did I delete it? Is it here? Hang on. Scrolling down. I don't see it. I'm sure it exists. Harley. No, it doesn't. I'll have to make a new one. But Harley Raffle is back in action. The team is going to shows to sell those tickets to raise money in support of Special Olympics Ontario. So thanks for bringing it up, Chase. We got to make that into the routine. Yes. And Ryan Pinn, who is not only a driving instructor in Nova Scotia, he is also a learned individual who happens to teach driving and is a military man. But red is a lower wavelength, so it will illuminate but will not affect your ability to see through it. That's a more technical answer, wavelengthy and stuff. All right. Oh. Let's see here. Jojo wants to know, can a police officer do speed trap in front of his house if his house falls in borders another department? you sound like the question sounds like a jurisdictional boundary that may not be in Canada. So, borders and agency borders and authorities differ in different places. So in Canada, I'm a police officer for the entire, or not Canada, but Ontario, where I'm sworn. I'm a police officer for the entire province of Ontario. And if I have that authority regardless of where I go, even if I'm in my neighboring police services jurisdiction. So I can still pull you over. I wouldn't want to do that in front of my house. That's a personal preference. I think it would be a little bit weird. But could I technically? Sure, I have authority there. And even if it was on the border next door, technically, yeah, technically. But if it's in the United States, it could be different rules, and I don't want to give you bad info. Yeah. How strict are cops on drifting in the snow? Well, I would say depends on the cop. If you are going to do it in front of me, you're going to get charged. You're going to get stunt driving charges. Private property, public property, snow, not snow. If you're stunt driving, you're going to be charged. That means you're going to lose your license for 30 days. You're going to get your car seized and impounded for 14 days. You're going to go to court because you're going to get a court date for stunt driving. That is going to result in the consequence upon conviction of either a 1 to 3 or somewhere in the range of 1 to 3 years driving suspension. Additionally, you're going to be seeing a $2,000 to $10,000 fine and a subsequent. Or actually, what else? There's more. There's something else I'm missing. Oh, subsequent. So if you get done multiple times for it, you're going to have increasing penalties because you can actually get up to a 10-year. On your second, you can get up to 10 years. 3 to 10 years is the range for your suspension. And then finally, a third time, you get a lifetime ban. Yeah, third time or any subsequent. So don't do it. Don't stunt drive. Don't drift in the snow. There's no excuse. It's not safe. We don't want you doing it. Not allowed. Doesn't matter if it's private or public property. Doesn't matter if it's the road, a parking lot, a farmer's field, an underground parking lot. Cannot do it. The only exemption is racetracks. Okay. This is Canadian Queen says, I hope you're not on your work device, LOL. Do you say LOL or do you say laugh out loud? I don't know. JK, joke. Just seen the government ban. So this is in the media. We saw it yesterday, and it applies at the moment to federal government issued equipment. I don't know how that's going to, we're a municipal government or an agency that falls under municipal. I don't know if that will trickle down to us or not. But you know what? We're on multiple platforms. I hope that we can stay on TikTok because we have over 600,000 people that follow us there. And we talk to millions of people through our videos. But in the event that that doesn't work out, well, we are on the other platforms. But let's keep our fingers crossed. And I've read up on the papers. In fact, if you go to trafficcop.ca, you can go and look at 2 independent papers about it. They both suggested that there's no issue with it. But I don't make those rules. So make your own decision. Have a read of those things. They're on my LinkedIn. Or Linktree, I should say. What is this question? Who regulates the brightness of factory headlights? The government sets out the realm or the range for which is legal, the minimums and maximums, and then the manufacturers and Transport Canada, or Transport Canada, I think enforces it from the manufacturing side of it, and then we enforce it on the road if we see something that's outside of that. But making the rules, that's the government. I'm going to say it's Transport Canada and in conjunction with the MTO, because I don't know who came first, the chicken or the egg, right? That's always the question. Our regulations I don't know if they reflect Transport Canada's regulations. It could be different in different provinces. It's well above my ability to answer right now. So, all right. Can cops see if you have valid insurance? Fantastic question. So the ministry has a status of confirmed or unconfirmed. And I don't know how up to date their information is, but yes, that's part of the process that they employ with their renewal system, and they have checks and balances, and they can see some certain things. So as police, we can see certain things. But when I'm going to lay charges, I personally just call your insurance company. We have 3 years to lay the charge. So if I stop you and you give me an insurance card and I decide to go back and check it a month later and it was invalid on the date that I stopped you, I can still lay the charge. So yeah. Richard, good morning. Good morning to you. He says, good morning, Sean. I say good morning back. And thank you very much, M, for asking. If you're in the chat, there's a lot of people in the chat. So please put a Q in front of your question to suggest it's not just banter back and forth within the chat, because that is hard to navigate. If you're, oh, actually, you know what I should do? I should open up a second window here, and I should open up the Volley app. Volley is a free app that allows you to ask me questions by way of video, voice, or text. I can tell you there's one person who uses it. Oh, actually, no, there's a number of people who use it a lot. There's one person who consistently provides voice. Oh, and look at that, Michael in Q&A. Michael it doesn't send me audio text very often or audio messages very often, but does send messages. So Akela started off in Volley by saying greetings and salutations. And he just bought his tickets for this year's Harley-Davidson draw. They're giving away a bike. They've given away a number of bikes over the years, and it goes to a fantastic cause. So harleyraffle.ca. And Michael says, good morning. I will not watch live today. I have applied for a few-hour course at Centennial College. It is a few hours and one day, $80. Oh, it's an M1 course. Awesome. How do you get it? Today you're going to ride M1? That's very impressive, Michael. Good luck to you. Motorcycling is a passion of mine. It is, I think, the best way to travel when it's not cold, because traveling in the cold is just not fun on a motorcycle. If you're cold, you can't be happy. I'm pretty convinced. Which really begs the question: how were there so many smiling people who were on the polar plunge? They were all smiling and freezing cold. I would not have been smiling. What is this? Okay. Matt has a question. Can you talk about the legal aspects of cell phone cradles in cars? Are they legal? Fantastic question. We talk about cell phone stuff all the time because distracted driving is a problem. And it's a $615 problem for a driver, along with a 3-day suspension and a 3-day merit points, I should say. And yeah, I don't think anyone likes getting those tickets, but then again, if they get them, it's because they've done something wrong. But let's not dwell on that. Let's talk about the question. Cell phone cradles. You can have a cradle. You can mount the phone. It can't be in an obstruction to your vision, so it can't be in the driver's view, somewhere where the windshield wiper wipes. It can hold the phone, and when the phone is mounted, you can look at your map app. That's it, other than the main lock screen, which allows you to answer or hang up on calls. You can't dial, you can't touch, you can't swipe, you can't change music, you can't do anything like that. All you can do is see the phone in its lock screen mode, or if it's unlocked, in the specific mode for a GPS. That's not the Uber apps, pick a job to go pick somebody up. It can't be a rideshare program. It is a GPS mode only, and you have to set it before you start driving. You cannot be using it, touching it, any kind of interaction with it physically once you're in motion, other than the simple swipe of answering or the button to hang up, period. That's the only exemption. So I hope that answers your question. If you got more questions, ask. Oh, how do cops know? Sorry. Victoria wants to know, how do cops know my plate isn't expired if we don't get new stickers? Fantastic question. We have computers. And we can look up your plate to see if it's currently valid. When you renew online, it's automatically updated in the MTO system, and we have direct access to the MTO system, so we know in a live way. Now, that currently requires us to type in your plate and hit enter and wait for a response. With the introduction and the adoption of ALPR, automatic license plate readers, that's going to happen all automatically. OPP's already rolled it out in the province, and I don't know if all of their cars have it, but they certainly have announced it and lead me to believe that they are being rolled out across their fleet. Those will automatically run your plates. It'll notify them immediately if you're expired, if you're wanted, if you have a license suspension, if you have an insurance issue. If it's an Amber Alert, they will just automatically, and they can do like 3-4 lanes of traffic constantly, hundreds of plates simultaneously. It's magical, truly magical, and it's safer for coppers because we don't have to take our eyes off the road to focus on anything but driving until we're notified. And I hope there's like maybe a color-coded flashing light or a bing bong, different sound for different levels of a thing. I've not used it personally, so I don't know how they differentiate and notify officers of what's what. Anyway, that's how it works. It's an automatic license plate reader that is going to make life a lot easier for us. But currently, it's a manual read. I have someone that might be able to ask this question or answer this question. Aaron, are you able to answer a question about parking? Oh, yeah, she's on a course, but she says, "What's up?" What are the different fines for parking offenses in terms of no parking, no stopping, or no standing? Are there different fines, or are they the same fine? No parking is $60. 50. No parking is 50. No stopping and no standing are 100. 100. 100. Okay. 50 for no parking, 100 for no stopping, no standing. So oh, rush hour is 150? No stopping rush hour is 150. I don't know this stuff, but Erin does. And if you don't already follow her, you should be. She is TPS_bike on all the platforms. You can also go to Parking TPS because both of those are managed by Erin, who does an awesome job and sits right over there. What do we got here? We got PT Dave. Oh, I think that just updated. Hold on. What is that? I'll come back to that one. PT Dave, it updated just as I went to click and I missed the window. What model of vehicles are worst for Ontario winters? I don't have an answer for you. I don't know. I don't know enough about the new. I used to know all the cars on the road, and I don't pay attention to different makes, models, and reviews, and I'm just not that interested in cars anymore from the perspective of anything I'm not buying. I used to read up all of them. I used to go to all the car shows and spend all the time. I just don't. I don't know. I don't have any advice to give you. Actually, I guess are you looking for advice because you want to buy the worst car? Or you probably want to avoid the worst car. I don't know. Everything seems to be a 4x4 now. I just don't know. And I'm going to stop saying I don't know. And I would say do a lot of research. Unfortunately, I don't know if there are vehicles available to test drive, but I don't want to buy before I drive. That's a big thing. Tracy says, you need to auction off that bear, and Buddy is not for sale, not for auction, never going nowhere. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. He's part of the family. And that'd be like maybe $1 million. Do you think $1 million? No, maybe $1 million. But I don't even know if we're allowed. He's sworn. He has a uniform. Okay, maybe we can get a reasonable facsimile made and raffle that one off. We have Akila says, okay. Akila bought his tickets yesterday. We covered that. Undead Neon, we haven't seen you in a while. If you're broken down in a no parking, no stopping zone, can you get a ticket while waiting for a tow truck? Put your hood up and stay with your vehicle, because if you're actively waiting for a disabled vehicle, you should, with a disabled vehicle, you're unlikely to get a ticket. And I've had this conversation with Erin. I'm just looking to see if you're broken down in a no parking zone, you're not getting a ticket, are you? No. It's beyond your control. That's this. Jake here, coming from Instagram, says, traffic officers, strictly traffic, or if a crime near, will they be called to investigate? So we are focused on traffic. We are police officers and are obviously capable of being police officers in any capacity. If we came upon something, we wouldn't avoid it. We would go and respond, because we're fully capable as police officers to deal with criminal activity. In fact, criminal activity is something we find all the time, because guess who drives? Bad guys and gals and persons. If you are driving from a crime to a crime, there's a domestic in the car that we pull over for speeding. We deal with criminality all the time, but we will not generally be dispatched to deal with crime unless there's absolutely nobody available, or we're the closest car and it's urgent. Like, it depends. Yeah, it depends. So we can, but we generally are focused on our specialty. I love watching different, people from different places, especially on TikTok. There's all these great different pronunciations of words and stuff. Let's see here. We're talking about that. I think I already said boom. We talked about that. I gotta start flagging the good ones here. I just so I don't lose them. Okay. We got that one. Question about my mom or their mom. We have, okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Good morning, Sean. Thanks for the great info. That's from Tim. I appreciate the appreciation. Thank you. It's always nice to hear from people who say this is good. We like it. It's good feedback, and we like feedback. Not feedback when it's in a microphone. That kind of feedback bad. Just saying. What do we have here? Can you snow plow on a tractor on Ontario roadways without a valid license? I don't think you need a license for a like implement of husbandry tractor. I have to, I'm not a farm tractor guy, but Sergeant Campbell, we talk about farm tractors all the time. We have someone who actually does a lot of farming here, and I want to say an answer, but I don't want to give you the wrong info, so I'm not going to give you an answer. I'm gonna write it down, and I'm gonna confirm it. Tractor, and I think I know the answer, but we're going to come back to it. So circle back. Don't go anywhere. We'll come back to the tractor thing. Or watch this later on replay on YouTube, and you'll get the answer because I'm phoning a friend. Oh, cool. Okay, so we have... cool. I'll let you know what he says. What we got here? We got scrolling backwards. Lots of scrolling going here. Lots of good... Thank you. Thank you for everyone who's asking questions. And I might as well reset the room. My name is Sean Shapiro. This is Ask a Traffic Cop. And why are you here? Well, you're here, or you're seeing this. If you don't know, I'm a police officer. I happen to be a traffic officer, and I answer traffic and police questions online. Well, weekdays from 10 to 11. I do it all the time, but generally weekdays from 10 to 11. And if you want to ask questions, the best place to go is YouTube, because it's the best interface, I think. But TikTok, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, they all work. Instagram, I'll get you on the little phone over here where there's actually one waiting. And that's from Dom. I'll get to you in just 1 second, Dom. And, or will I? He wants to know about murder questions. Okay, and then, what else? You can also use... You can also use Volley to send me video, voice, or text. Notice that I'm not talking about Twitter, and that's because while you can watch us on Twitter, you can't actually ask us questions because the interface doesn't let it work. I think it used to. It stopped. I don't know. Hopefully it comes back because we would like that. What do we have here? Okay, we're scrolling through. I'm quickly going to flag a couple of things here, so bear with me. Do I put music on? Background music to distract you? Okay, this is an interesting question. We'll go with that. Someone got pulled over. We'll go with that. Driving with a pet. We'll talk about that. This is great stuff. Okay, we'll talk about that. This is fantastic stuff. This is also all these great questions. Is the stall working? Is the stall working with the music? Is it a good distraction? Okay, talking about that. Drive with... very good question. These are all fantastic. All right. I'm going to go to the 12 questions that I've pinned, and I'm sure there'll be more later. We'll go. Okay. Is it legal if my mom gets a call while she is driving and I put it on speaker? So you're in the car, you're the passenger, she gets the call, you answer it and hold it for her to on speaker. That's legal. If it's mounted and she puts it on speaker, you can answer and do that. That's legal. You can't, the driver can't drive around going, "Hi, I'm on speaker," because this is not hands-free. It may be in hands-free mode, but the fact that the hand is not free, that is classified as use. So I hope that answers your question. If not, ask it again and ask it a different way. We have a question that says, if a bar has multiple minors on premises drinking, does the bar get a fine per minor at the location or the full $20,000 fine maximum? That is a fabulous question that I have no idea. I've never done liquor license in enforcement. I have no personal, experience in this. So that I can't help you with, but I can ask. I can phone a friend. DM me, my friend. I'll try and get you an answer. But it's just not a theme for a show. So we'll talk about how many fines for that. We'll come back to it. All right. Jabber asks, so I can't look at my phone for Uber. Correct. You cannot use your phone for Uber while you are driving a motor vehicle because that's a distracted driving offense. So yes, you can't do it. Yes, you can't. Yes, you know. No, you, yes. Okay. Host, okay, Let's Go says, or asks, I got 2 driver's licenses in the mail 2 days apart. What do I do? Service Ontario doesn't believe me. Well, if you have two things to look at. Look on the back. On the back of your license, now everyone pulls up their license and starts reading. On the back of your driver's license, there is a number. Am I telling the truth? It's been a while since I've actually inspected my license. It's been a while since I've looked at any license because, yeah. So There is a number, and on the back, check the two of them. If they're different, if they're the same, you have somehow managed to get a duplicate that you just destroy one of them and you're fine. If they're different, find out which one is valid, because if they issued two in a row, they'd have the different sequence, and the one would be valid and one would not. And you want to be carrying the one that is, because if you give us the one that is not, you are not going to be, you're going to get a ticket for not giving us the most recent one. And if you carry both of them, you could receive a ticket for that. So don't do that. Make sure you know the most recent one. If you really are in a problem, you can't do it. Like you can call the ministry or go to the ministry. I say ministry, I mean Service Ontario. If you're having problems, go to a local police division. They can tell you which one is legit. And if you're going there for the purposes of checking which one is valid, I don't think you're going to have a problem with them charging you for having two licenses, because it is technically against the law. Okay. I like that the ministry doesn't believe you. It's like, I'm holding them and looking at them. What realm? Anyway, it's a sci-fi day. Okay. Akela says, question. Yesterday I saw a snowmobile trailer sitting on the shoulder of the 407 with no car. What is the best way to deal with a trailer breakdown? Stay with it with four ways and wait for a tow, or drop the trailer and get a new tire? I am not someone who tows trailers, but I will tell you that if it's possible to get it resolved, and I call police and ask for direction. I don't know. I'm not an OPP guy, so I don't know what they'd want you to do on the 407. I would hope that it's there when you get back. If you left it there, that's a problem. I might call CAA and have them come. Like, I'm a CAA member, so if I call CAA, they could come and fix it. If it's close proximity to, you know what? I just don't know. That's such a. I like these questions that make me go outside of my norm of being able to answer a question and having no good answer for you. So I'm just speculating as to what I would do if I was close by to a store that could fix it. I might go grab a tire, come right back. I'd still call OPP and let them know that I put it there temporarily, because you don't want to get it towed. And they may tell you can't leave it there and to stay with it. So get direction from the local police. See, there's the answer. Get direction from police. Non-emergency line. Yes. Okay. Can I park my car with hazards in a no parking to pick up food while working Uber? No. Hazards do not mean anything. They are not a license to allow you to park. Hazards do not exempt you from tickets. If you are a delivery driver, which you're saying you would be when you're working Uber, you can park on a side street with a on delivery placard. I don't want to interrupt her. She's on a training course, but that's my understanding. On delivery placard, not on a main street. You get a certain window, I think it's 10 minutes to do that, but that's it. Okay, I'm going to interrupt her. Aaron, is it 10 minutes for on delivery? Is it 10 minutes for on delivery? Yes. Yeah. With a sign on your dash. Okay, and not a main street. Not. I see. I'm learning stuff through osmosis. Okay. Yes. But hazards are not a freebie. No, she says no. All right. What are the rules for driving with a pet? I just got a small baby Maltese, 1 month old. Can she sit on lap? He sit on lap. Sorry. No. Pets cannot be on your lap. That is careless driving. They can be tethered or crated in the back seat for safety. That's the way they have to be. If they have to be in the front seat, passenger seat, crated or tethered. The reason tether or crate is because in the event of a collision, you are going to turn them into a fur missile, and they're probably going to die. Airbags are not friendly towards animals, nor smaller people, nor children, which is why we say backseat is best. So, not on your lap because it's an offense. Not anywhere that they aren't tethered because it's unsafe for them and for you. If you have a fur bullet or a fur missile in your vehicle, they're a projectile it may not only hurt themselves but hurt you. But congratulations to the new baby doggy, Maltese. We like dogs. I don't want a dog. I've had a dog. I don't want to have a dog again. It was too painful to lose the dog. He was my buddy. Okay. Ainsley. I got pulled over yesterday with the new automatic scanner. Said my vehicle was showing unlicensed. Okay. Was your vehicle unlicensed? What was the story? Unlicensed, like expired? Like you didn't renew online? Was it? Tell me more, Ainsley. I need to know. Was it accurate? Because that could be great. I'm assuming that you were going to say it's not unlicensed. So was it an error? What happened? I need to know. Or I don't need to know. I want to know. All right. When will TPS get ALPR installed in their vehicles? I don't know what the rollout time. I know that we're working on it, but I am. But I don't know. I don't have a timeline. It's coming. Chase has sent. Thank you, Chase. Showing off the technology of volley. Okay, what we got? Oh, okay. Let's see here. If you have a classic car with classic insurance, are you guys more lenient on modifications? If you have a classic car, you're responsible to have what was legal at the time. So if you have illegal modifications on a classic car, it's still illegal. If it was illegal at the time, like for instance, if you have straight pipes, no muffler. If that was legal when the vehicle was manufactured, it's not a matter of leniency. It's loud. They're grandfathered. If you don't have your smog pump in a car that requires one, that's against the law and you'll be charged. If you make noise and it's reasonable because you don't need a muffler, it's reasonable. If you have a drag racing car that making top fuel kind of funny car, pop, 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 loud, obnoxious noise, that's just unreasonable noise for anybody, and you'll still get a ticket. I think so. Leniency, it's not leniency. It's you're properly applying the law. Do new plate readers work on tinted plate covers? My understanding is they may be able to, but tinted plate covers are illegal. So I'll still give you a ticket for $110 for having a tinted plate cover or a clear cover or a license plate frame, because you're not allowed to have anything on your license plate at all whatsoever. Nothing. Not plastic, not clear, not tinted, not colored, not just a frame. Can't cover any portion of the plate. When are police going to enforce bright headlights? We already do. We have been since the beginning of time. If your plates are blinding people, not plates, I keep blending the topics. If you are driving with headlights that are too bright, we're going to pull you over if we notice them as being too bright. If they are poorly directed, you have to have headlights that point in the right direction. Now, I will say this. Incandescent bulbs tend to be nicer on the eyes, not as bright for the driver to be able to actually see the road, but they are generally not as harsh on the eyes. I've driven oncoming in towards some newer vehicles that have these ultra white lights, and they are very bright, and in certain conditions, they're blinding, even if they are the regular. So I appreciate why you're asking the question, but they are likely compliant. Schmoopy. There's an RCMP officer in Alberta, hates tint. He's a scraper. Scraper. Choice is scraper ticket. I agree. So if you have a tinted windshield, if your tint is so dark that it's unsafe, because if it's more than 30% light blockage in Ontario, that's an unsafe vehicle. I can pull your plates, and then you have to go get a safety after removing your tint, and then you have to reapply for your plates and then get your plates. So by scraping, you ruin your nice tint job, which was illegal in the first place, and you don't have to incur the tow truck, the $280 to reapply. I think it's $280? Whatever the reinstatement or new license plate application is, or the $70 or $150, whatever it's going to cost you for a new safety inspection. Now, I don't know about Alberta law, but giving them the option. I've seen people pull their windshield tint off at the side of the road to avoid losing their license plates. Will you still get a ticket? I'd still give you the ticket, but you'd not have to lose your plates. So I might be more mean, if you want to say that's mean, than the officer you've described. Fantastic question. Abdullah says, if my friends don't wear seatbelts at the back seat, do I get the ticket? If your friends are under the age of 16, yes, you would get the ticket. If your friends are above the 16 or above, then they get a ticket. But I wouldn't personally allow them to be in my car without a seatbelt, because if I get into a collision, your friend who's sitting behind me will become part of me as he flies forward and takes my head out or hurts me while being ejected through the front windshield. So for your own personal protection, I would say seatbelt or take a bus. That's my personal thing. Do cops frequently ticket the license plate cover? Because most of the cars I see on the road have the cover or frame. Rarely do I see them without. Our priority is always going to be the stuff that leads to serious injury and death, but I think you're going to see a serious increase in the enforcement of these. And we did lay like over 10,000 license plate frame or obscured license plate tickets last year. Over 10. It was 10, 12,000. I just recently looked up this for an article that the Toronto Sun is working on. Toronto Star, my apologies, is working on. So I happen to have looked at it. I expect that's going to go up a lot because of the introduction of automatic license plate readers. We're going to get alerted of the fact that a vehicle was not readable properly, potentially. I'm speculating. Certainly, I know that someone who has a plate cover on and it's difficult for me to read, I pull over anyway. I would not let that go. I'm the person that pulls over everybody for that. So I didn't write 10,000. I haven't been on the road in 4 years, but if I was on the road, I would write many, many, many of those tickets. So yeah, I expect to see more, but we do frequently write those tickets. We covered this. I have seen people going almost 60 in a 40 zone around camera and it didn't flash. I don't know if it flashes in daytime. I don't know. I don't know if it's an always flash or it has one of those sensor thingamabobbers that tells it whether or not it needs it or not. So, yeah. I couldn't tell you I couldn't tell you why or that is or not working. And I don't know anything about that system. So I'm going to stop talking about it because I just don't know. I don't know. We have continuing the question, what if I'm doing Uber? Can I ask passengers' age? You can ask anything you want, but you can also say you have to wear a seatbelt or you have to get out of my car. So, because you can refuse to take someone who doesn't wear their seatbelt. You can refuse to take someone who's breaking the law. You can refuse anyone, from my understanding. Okay. And you can't take children. I think that's the thing. You need car seats for children at a certain age. And I believe it's a policy that you just cannot transport children because there's no exemption for car seats in an Uber, where there is an exemption for child restraints in a taxi or bus. What if I have 24-hour probation on record when you see driving record? I'm not sure what you're asking me. If you're on probation, I would see your record if I ran your license. But I don't know 24-hour probationers. What is the law on light bars? If you mean off-road light bars, light sources that are not used for the road, they're not legal for the road, so you can't use them. That's about it. You can have up to 4 lights that are over 300 candela. That's the maximum you can have on the vehicle illuminated, but off-road non-street legal are not street legal.
So can the front passenger have a THC?
Oh, it's going the wrong. Going to the wrong source. Let me change the source. Let me change the thing. Let me go here to, which one is it? Is it chat? I think it's chat. What's this set to? Standby. Oh, it's on this side now. I messed around with things, so I want to make sure everything's back to normal. Main stereo. Good. So chat will allow you to hear it. Good. Let's try that again.
So can the front passenger have a THC vape pen in their pocket? Like, would that still count as within reach of the driver, even though it's on someone else's person?
Oh, so it's not on the...
So can the front passenger have a THC vape pen in their pocket? Like, would that still count as within reach of the driver, even though it's on someone else's person?
That's gonna be up to the officer. Could they lay the charge potentially? It's supposed to be out of reach. If I don't know. I've got a couple of I don't knows today. I want to phone a friend for this one too. See, out of reach of the driver, to me the trunk is best. But being that the person in the passenger seat could pass it to the driver, I'm going to say that could be a problem. Because, and technically that's in reach. It just happens to be in their pocket. So I don't know. Because I haven't gone there, but I will phone a friend. So THC. Oh, I've got you in here. I've got you in there. We'll stick with that. Undead Neon says anything over 6,000 lumens makes the headlights turn into a blue color. Well, that's brightness versus color. Because if you talk about Kelvin is where the color changes. But I don't know enough about color science to say that 600 lumens isn't accurate. But according to the mechanic, I won't argue with you. He says that anything over 6,000 lumens is going to turn blue, which would make it illegal because you can't have blue light. What do we got here? Okay, this is an answer to me regarding Uber tells you to request they wear a seatbelt. You cancel the ride if they refuse. You also can't take children without a parent riding. You have to be 18 to have an Uber account. Minors cannot be riding in Uber alone. But you also, if you have a child who requires, like if you have a toddler or a baby, they must be in a car seat. Parent or no parent, you cannot transport them in an Uber without a car seat because you, the driver, become responsible for transporting a child and breaking the law. You get the ticket for that, not the parent. So you can't take kids. I believe it's a policy, but we'll move on. Let's go anywhere. It says, broken foot in air cast or broken arm or shoulder, can you drive? There's no specific law that says you can or can't. It says you have to be able to safely operate the vehicle. So if your right foot is in a cast and you can't drive because of that, that's a problem. If your arm or shoulder is disabled, that could cause a problem and prevent you from driving safely. However, there are people who only have one leg and only have one arm, and they drive every day. So not having access, it depends if you can drive safely, because if you can't, you could run into problems. It also depends if you have a doctor who tells you you cannot and suspends you medically. It's a different story. Brian Jason Florido says, is the city doing anything to educate drivers to turn their lights during bad weather at night? I hope not, unless they're telling them not to turn on their hazards, but to turn on their full headlighting system. We say this stuff all the time. Turn on your full headlighting system. But I hope you're not trying to tell people to turn on their hazard lights, because that is absolutely the wrong information. We don't want it. We don't want people doing that. Hazard lights are for vehicles that are not moving. Vehicles that are moving are driving with their full headlight system on. So as long as we're on the same page, we're on the same system. The same page, we're on the same page. We talked about this. We talked about that. Let me see what's going on here. Okay. Apparently, I need water. I can hear my mouth noises. Okay. Switching back to the chat. Okay. Is it okay to drive if you're 15 with parental vision? No, because you have to have a license to drive, and 15 is not the age where you can get a license in Ontario. So depends on where you are. In Ontario, the answer is no. In Alberta, you can get a learner's permit at 14, but you cannot use that learner's permit in Ontario because you have to be 16 here. Okay, OS Photography. Can I carry a digital copy of my license? You're allowed to carry it. It just doesn't mean anything. It's not useful. It's not legal. It's not lawful. We don't accept it. So if you decide to carry a photo of your driver's license, happy days. You haven't broken any laws, but it absolutely is meaningless in a traffic stop. So the scenario is this. You show me that license but because you forgot it. I might take that information and it may help me identify you, but I'm still going to give you a ticket because it's not a legal replacement for a driver's license. You have to have the actual card. Here's a question from Sturdy Projects. Can we still bring our kids who are learning how to drive G1 to a parking lot with snow to learn how a car reacts? Here's the thing. If you're teaching them to lose control so you can teach them to regain control, you are telling them to stunt drive, at which point they can be charged with stunt driving and the car can be seized and their license suspended. Now, how do you learn how to drive in snow? By driving in snow and not losing control. See, you can drive a car to the point where it loses traction, and that's where it ends. If you intentionally get it to lose control and then try and do some kind of recovery thing, that's a track situation where you take it to a professional driving school where you do it on a track. You do not do that in private or public property because you will be charged. If you're caught, obviously, if we don't catch you, you don't get charged. But it's not legal, and that was what you were asking. Is not having both hands on the steering wheel a charge? Having one hand on the steering wheel, if you are capable of safely operating your vehicle with one hand, is legal. It's not illegal. I might be getting a guest. So I'm moving my luggage.
You got luggage?
I got baggage, luggage. Okay. I'm moving over.
Undercover today.
I am in plain clothes. I'm going to the police college to talk about social media stuff after the show. So I did the I wore my traffic services shirt. I'm in business.
Yeah, and apparently you know something about social media.
I know a couple of things here and there. I don't know if we'll have social media after, because today federal government is banning the use, and it doesn't apply to us right now, but I don't know where it's going. They're banning the use of TikTok on issued
phones.
devices.
Yep.
But hopefully it's specifically federal government phones. I'm assuming. They say government phones, but I think it's federal government phones.
Well, you know what? Make sure you guys move over to another platform just so you don't lose us.
Yes.
If we're not allowed to broadcast on it, that may come down. Who knows? But we'll continue going with everything else.
We will. And you can, of course, get us on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You can join our community on Volley and have conversations with us there. Even when we're not live, you can send messages. And yeah, that's a great place to get us. So follow us everywhere because we'd love to have you in the fam. But definitely, I think YouTube is one of the best experiences because you can actually replay all of our events. You can watch the archive. You can get our what's it called? A podcast. We do that podcast thing too, which I have a couple of episodes in the can that I have to publish.
Perfect.
So,
and I'm doing my best for whatever listener that was or a guest that we had to try and look at you.
Yes, yeah. I appreciate you gazing into my ear.
Yeah.
There was a question earlier that I was going to defer till your arrival, and that was, can I drive a tractor, a farm tractor, with a plow on the road without a license? And I seem to remember that something, but I didn't want to give them a definitive answer.
So a tractor has to be considered an implement of husbandry, which means you have to be using it in the act of farming, going from field to field, or an actual farming. If it is a landscape company or a snow clearing company that sometimes use it for big parking lots, stuff like that, as soon as you go out on the road, it is a motor vehicle. You need insurance, you need plates, you need licenses, you need everything, because it's not being used for the purpose that it was originally meant for.
I'm glad that you had the answer because I didn't have the answer.
If you are using it for farming, and you have certain things you have to do, slow moving vehicle signs, headlight lights, flashing lights, if available, if the tractor is manufactured with it, all those things as well, to be able to make it be seen. But if you're using it for its original purpose, you can do it. And if you are not, then no, you won't be in compliance, and that would be very expensive.
I imagine it would be because if insurance is something required, then you're talking about a $5,000 to $25,000 fine. It's very interesting. Okay, Mitch Hills wants to know, does the OPP have dash cams? Well, I believe, and I don't know for certain, but it's my understanding that the new system for automatic license plate readers act as dash cams as well, if they're using the same technology that I believe we are, which it's an all-in-one solution as opposed to having the additional mounted cameras on the outside, which was the older technology. So I don't know for certain, but I believe that those will be the dash cams or are the dash cams. Here's an interesting question. What's the rule for powered glasses? Powered glasses, spectacles for driving. Do you mean powered as in magnified, or do you mean like electricity? Maybe we're using spectacles and powered glasses. I'm thinking you may be someone who is using, the Queen's English.
So my read of it would be, do I have to be wearing my glasses if I need to see?
That's what I'm thinking.
If it is a condition of your license, and you have the condition that, I believe it's X on your license, that you need corrective lenses, you have to wear them. And you have to be wearing them when you're driving. Would you agree?
I would agree. If you're required to, you are required to. Apparently Ahmed had a question and forgot and missed it, and then he's pointing out that I missed it. So I'm scrolled back to find it. I missed a bunch of people actually here.
So if that's your question about wearing glasses, if you have an X on your driver's license,
then you have to have it.
You have to have it. I don't have an X on my driver's license. I do wear glasses. I can still see really, really well, but it's just not as crisp. Age.
It happens.
I wear glasses when I drive all the time. And I don't have that condition because I don't meet the threshold, but I want to have better vision. I want to see as much and as good as I can every time I'm out there. So,
I agree. I do the same thing. I'm not required. I actually did have a requirement for years and years. I had to wear glasses as a condition. Had laser surgery, improved my vision considerably. No longer required it. Got it removed, and now I wear glasses again, but only because I want to have super focused, awesome vision.
Yep.
And that's a personal preference, not a requirement. So, Ahmed, I found your question. Here is the question. Hi, sir. There is a gravel pit near my house that people like to do donuts on. It's not a parking lot or farmer's field or trail, so stunt driving won't apply, question mark? I say question mark because I want to really identify that he's asking a question. The answer is you still can't do it. The only exemption, because private or public or farmer's fields, or they have listed everything under the HTA for places where you cannot. And they have specifically listed the places you can. And that's, although there is no exemption for gravel pit. The only exemption they specifically state racetrack or go-kart track, and then they added a permitted indie event or an event where a permit has been issued.
And that would be for things like the Indy,
Yes.
where they're actually traveling on city roads that have been closed, but they have a permit to close them and use it. So, yes, anywhere. Stunt driving, anywhere. Your property or not, gravel pit. It even, I mean, the one I find funny in there, they talk about a beach.
Yes.
So driving on a beach.
We don't beach around.
Yeah, it's pretty much
Everywhere.
anywhere. Yep.
Kerry Schmidt has just as a thing here. Jake here says, Kerry Schmidt had a video checking plate reader. He was up to 75 hits with bad plates. Amazing. I don't know if bad plates, they had 75 bad plates or 75 offenses, but I saw one like in very short order. He had 30 responses. So I hope that answers your question. Here's another one about CB radios and personal cars. Can you use a CB radio in a personal car or only for business vehicles? Well, CB is citizens band, so anyone can have a CB radio. However, there's no exemption for using them while you're driving. It is still a handheld communication device. You can get a speaker so you can listen to it and push to talk with a remote, which would be okay. Like if you had a button on your steering wheel or a button, but you can't hold the device, you can't hold the microphone. That requires a exemption, like police, fire, ambulance. Amateur radio operator with a license is exempt from that. So it is something that's controlled. You can't be distracted while you're driving. What is the difference between stunt driving and careless driving? Well, Connor, I'm glad you asked that question. I like talking about this. The answer is that stunt driving, oddly enough, came out, in my understanding, as a lesser offense to careless driving. It was a way of charging a $125 fine originally that had fewer demerit points than that of careless driving, which had 6 demerit points and a big old fine. But as the problem continued to evolve and more people were breaking the rules and it became understood that we have more collisions caused by distraction than by impaired driving now. Like it's impairment by a different means, but it's a serious problem on the roads.
Are you talking about distraction or are you talking about stunt? So both of them are different.
Oh, I'm totally wrong. I went off on a tangent because, as I said, I enjoyed it. I went to my favorite topic, and I didn't go to the topic you asked me about. So bad, Sean. The deal is, okay, the difference between stunt driving and careless driving, one has specific events that have to take place in order to trigger. Thank you for putting me back on the out of the round. So stunt driving could be a long list of things, and I will read you that list, which includes traveling at 150 kilometers an hour anywhere, regardless of the speed limit. It includes doing 50 over in areas that have a speed limit of 80 or more kilometers an hour. It has 40 kilometers over the speed limit if the limit is under 80 kilometers. So if you do 80 and a 40, that's stunt driving. It includes racing. It includes performing stunts. And I'll give you the breakdown right now. It says all tires not in contact with the highway, which means wheelies or going on the side two wheels. Cause tire to lose traction, spin or circle without control. So that's going to be drifting. But people say, well, what if I'm really controlled, man?
No. You're not controlled if you're not.
You're breaking traction with the ground. You are no longer in control. You may be in quasi. Maybe you're really skilled, but you're still, for the purposes of this, not in control. If you're in oncoming traffic portion of highway, person in trunk, driver not in driver's seat, like ghost riding, where you walk beside the car after you, or sit in the passenger seat,
or stand up and go at the sunroof.
Yeah, is that not? Yeah, is that not in driver's seat? Yeah. But
Your feet would be, but the rest of you aren't.
Yeah, I would. I agree with that. I was having this conversation with motorcycle operators. So, as a motorcycle operator, if you stand up from the seat to stretch your legs, a motorcycle is still being operated appropriately at that point. So it's different on a motorcycle for that one, in my opinion. Prevent passing. So if you're weaving and blocking people, causing issues, stop or slow to interfere with another vehicle. So again, you prevent someone or slow down so they can't cut into your lane.
Or somebody jams on the brakes in front of you.
Brake check,
you know.
yeah. Too close to vehicle, pedestrian, or object. So you do a flyby, or you buzz the tower type thing. That's a good one. I don't think I've ever paid attention to that one before. Turning left from red before oncoming traffic. So that's where you do the jackrabbit start and
Jump the green.
Jump the green before the other traffic has an opportunity. And that's different from nobody moving because they're asleep on their phones and you've waited an appropriate amount of time and then you make your turn.
Right.
It's about traffic begins and you zoom in front of them. And that really bothered people originally. Like, but what if they're on their phone? Well, if they're on their phone and they're not paying attention and no one's moving, it's reasonable that you've made every effort to wait.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different. Then we talked about speeding already, so I won't recover that. And that's it. That's what it is. And the offenses are significant for stunt driving versus careless. So it's the higher one.
But when we talk about careless, that's something totally different. So that's what driving without due care and attention for anybody that's using or ought to be reasonably expected to be using the road. That could be pedestrians, other vehicles, anything. So you have to, it's not paying attention. Yes, it's distracted driving, but distracted in the manner that you're driving.
Yeah. Fines are $2,000 to $10,000. They come with a 1 to 3 year conviction. Sorry, 1 to 3 year suspension. So it's for the first offense, it's not less than 1 year, not more than 3 years. Second conviction, not less than 3 years, not more than 10 years. Third and subsequent conviction in the section is indefinite suspension. Of course, roadside, you're going to lose your vehicle for 14 days. You're going to lose your license for 30. That's before anything happens in court. We were talking earlier about CB radios. And someone has commented, Canadian Carper commented, CJ, thanks for sending us the message. They said that apparently school buses are exempt from that and can use their two-way radios. At least they are told they are allowed. I've had this conversation. I can find nothing in the HTA to support that. So
Yeah.
I don't know who's giving you that information, but I would question them because you'd still be getting a ticket based on everything I have read. There's no exemption for school buses.
You know what? As things go through the courts, decisions are made in the courts, and it's called case law. So there may be case law saying that, yes, in one circumstances, meeting certain criteria, it was allowable, was reasonable. But you'd still get a ticket for using it if it's still on the books. And then you'd have to argue that maybe your set of circumstances were similar. And if not, then you're getting convicted.
And Darren says if you have an operator's license, you can hold it. Operator's license for a CB, I'm not aware of there being one for Ontario.
No.
I've never heard of one. The only thing listed in the HTA, which is the Ontario law governing the roads here, is a amateur radio operator, a ham radio. That is entirely different than a CB. If you have a ham radio license and you use a CB, it would be covered. You're covered. It's still a device. It's a radio transmitting device. There's many different bands within ham radio. But if you have that license, I believe it's going to cover you for all handheld communication devices. For when it comes to radio, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. I may be wrong. I don't think it matters because now you're talking about there's CB and you're talking the difference is wavelength.
Yep.
So I think you're covered by an amateur radio license because that's what it says in the amateur radio or in the HTA. But I could be wrong. And as someone said, Someone said, remember, they're not lawyers. No, we are not lawyers. We tell you what the law says based in the books. We interpret that. We lay charges based on that. And what a court decides after we lay the charges, up to the court. So if you think we're wrong and you want to do you and you think you can beat it in court, that's going to be up to you. We're giving you what we would do in relation to dealing with you on the road and what our interpretation is police officers who lay those charges. So we're on different sides. If you want to know how to defend something, you're talking to the wrong people.
Right. And you know what? Even between Sean and I, we have a difference of opinion in the way I read something and interpret it and the way Sean does. And that's why we actually have the board up here that has
The
marks on it
scoreboard.
the scoreboard. So who was right, who was wrong?
We tend to go back and forth, and and very often, and we because we're traffic geeks, we like this kind of thing. We argue the finer points, the minutia, and we go to a third party to go, which one of us is right, and sometimes they agree with what. And the truth is, the law is subject to interpretation, and that's, I've been turned on one question on one. I don't remember what it was, but you had converted me to it believing what you had said, and then I read something else and I went, wait, we got to go back to this. I now believe something. So it's constantly evolving, and the discussion is never ending, and we may say something today and they may get convinced otherwise.
And you know what, I've had occasion before where I've stopped somebody and was fully prepared to write somebody a ticket for something that I believed to be wrong, and the person said, no, if you read this, there's an exemption, it's under this section here. And I went back, opened up my book, back in the old days of the book, and read it and went, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Went back and said, sorry, have a nice day.
Here's another question that we have to circle back for, because I don't know the answer. I had a guess. THC vape pen being held by the passenger, is that still out of the reach of the driver? Because you can have marijuana in the car as long as it's out of the reach. And I say trunk is best, but now we're talking about in the passenger's pocket.
Well, that would be... Yeah, no, I would say it's in the reach.
I think so too, because they can pass it to you. They have access, yes. That's sort of what we worked through. When I was alone, we worked through it as a group, everyone here. But that's pretty much where I've got to.
Same thing as alcohol, right? If you have open alcohol, do you have access to it? Can you reach it? Can you? You may not have it in your hand at the time.
There you go, Chase. There's your answer.
So that's our opinion.
That's our opinion. The answer from us. It may not be the answer from the court, but I think that's where it would go. Chase has an opinion or discussion about the powered glasses, and I think it's an interesting way. I think I'm predicting what he's about to say.
So someone left a question about powered glasses that you guys just answered. I wonder if they're talking about like Google glasses, the ones where it's like they look like regular glasses, but it's actually kind of like a screen and a projector, and you can like watch movies or something with your glasses on, and it's not like a phone, so it's weird.
So that is something, and that's one of the places I went to when we talked about powered glasses as opposed to powered magnification. And Apple is said to be working on their new goggles, which are augmented reality and have projector screens. That would be. It's not yet something we've dealt with, but
and you know what? The laws are so far behind of what new stuff is coming out all the time, and it'll take a few years. It'll happen. People get hurt by it, and then they'll make a new law. So we're reactive. Not always
ahead of the curve.
Not always ahead of the curve.
Mr. T Mama, I don't know how to read your username, but I could be Mr. T Mama. Says, if responding to a call, do you have to have lights and or sirens on? No. And more often than not, we don't put the lights and sirens on because they put us in a position where people respond or react differently in our environment and could make it dangerous for us and everybody else, slowing us down.
Yeah, well, it depends on the situation. Depends on the severity of the call. If we have to go full on, all out, you know what? We don't care what you do. We're getting around you. We have to go because it's such an emergency. You're going to see lights and sirens on. You know what? Sometimes, though, if it's a call that we have to get to, but it's not an urgent right now kind of thing, or the potential hasn't raised to that level, you might find us driving a little bit quicker than anybody around us and maybe going around people, but we won't have that lights and siren on because we don't want you to, first of all, get freaked out, slam on the brakes, cause another accident.
Well, you think about this. If everyone's sort of driving the way they're driving and we go through where they are, make our way, nothing really changes. We navigate what we're doing and we anticipate what they're doing, continuing along. We have to evaluate what's happening around us. But when we add that stimulus, that lights and sirens, then everything ahead of us changes its behavior as we enter into the space, and we cannot have no way of predicting what they're going to do.
Yep.
I mean, we know what they're supposed to do, but they don't do what they're supposed to do.
And that may be the situation where you find us not with lights and sirens, but we come up to a red traffic light. And is it reasonable to sit there for a minute to let the light cycle through? No. You know what? We can get through that traffic light, save a minute. But then again, once we're starting through the flow of traffic again, we'll turn off the lights
for sure,
and make our way that way, and it still may be quicker.
Very often it is, but it does upset some people that we go through the light and turn it off, and there's an assumption that we're just going to Timmy's, and it's not the case. I'm sure it's being done. It's not appropriate when it is done, if it's for that purpose alone. But at the same time, very often there's a justification or a justified reason for doing it. This is a message from Jabber, who says, no, that's not from Jabber, because Jacob said something. Can passengers drink alcohol in cars? No.
Hard no.
Hard no. Hard alcohol, soft alcohol, any alcohol, no. But that's not the question that I was trying to put on the screen. And it was Jabber saying, before you end it, thanks for these lives. I've been watching you for a year, and I've genuinely benefited as a driver. Plus, it's great to have the proper resources to ask. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the appreciation. We are happy to be doing this. We love the fact that we can reach out and help so many people every day and create this library of information. Plus, we have fun doing it. So it's the bonus. But thank you very much. Much appreciated. Akela says, because we're really going deep dark into this whole powered glasses, they could be night vision.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a dad joke, but I like it anyway. Speaking of dad jokes, today is the 28th of February, and I didn't read this yesterday. So what prize did the snowman's dog win at the dog show?
I can see the answer and I'm giggling.
Best in snow. I like that. I'm not here tomorrow. Do we read this one today or do we leave it for Thursday?
Let's see how good it is first.
Okay, we're going to evaluate.
I think it's okay.
My wife first agreed to go on a date with me after I gave her a bottle of tonic water. You could say that I schwepped her off her feet.
Meh, meh, meh. How did I know that was coming?
Yeah, because Schweppes, do people know it's tonic? Is that?
If you're from here, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Jacob says hello. We talked about this. We talked about that. We're 5 minutes over, so it's time to say goodbye. But I'm just looking to see if there's anything that is absolutely important to do right now before we leave.
Hold on. There's a snowmobiling.
Yes. Well, obviously that's important because you're here.
That's very important.
Is snowmobiling in dishes along country roads legal as long as you're not in the farmer's field?
So if it is not your property and it is not a OFSC trail, no, you can't go into a field. Secondly, the road is fence line to fence line. So if you're ditch banging along and it is not a recognized trail or a road that actually allows you to travel down, because there are one or two of them when they close them in winter that you're actually allowed to travel on Ontario roads, then you can. But ditch banging on any regular one, no, not allowed. Not your property, ministry property. Consider the roadway.
It is the roadway, right into fence line to fence line. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Yeah. So technically, you're on the road when you're on the sidewalk.
Yep.
Not the roadway, but the road. Yeah.
There's a difference between the roadway and the highway.
Yes. Because the roadway is a portion of the highway.
That's right.
So you're on the highway when you're on the sidewalk, but not the roadway.
That's right. You're actually correct.
Yes. The silliness. Okay. D wants to know, is it legal to do U-turns as long as there's no U-turn sign? And I think this is the one that's going to take us. Ooh. Okay, we got one more. Two more. We'll see how it goes. U-turns are prohibited in certain areas regardless of signage. But in general, you would consider a U-turn to be legal if it can be done safely and there's no sign present. But if there's no view because of a crest of grade or curve, then that's illegal. Prohibited in front of bridges, in front of tunnels, viaducts, railway crossings. So those areas are absolutely prohibited because they're unsafe. Oddly enough, I've seen people do U-turns on the tracks. Like, we're talking the epitome of not such a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's the answer. And if you see a no U-turn sign, it's 150 meters beyond it that you cannot do it covers, signs cover beyond that of which they are planted. So is it 150 meters around, like as you approach?
Like a radius?
A radius.
You know what? If you can see the sign that says "Don't do a U-turn," then don't do it.
So that's a pretty good answer. I like that. If you can see it, then you know stuff. John says the Sarge should get a higher chair.
Well, I'm just smaller than Sean.
I don't know. Maybe I could lower my chair. I don't know.
This is a low chair.
It might be.
My knees are.
Yeah, you're all crow.
And
Okay,
yeah, I am a couple inches below you.
we are gonna resolve that because it's a good idea because you are not as small as you appear to be on screen.
But this is the hierarchy of how it works on your TikTok.
Oh,
show.
yes, I
Sean's up
specifically
here,
do this, yeah,
and then I'm down here.
I do it specifically so everyone can feel inferior, but that's not the truth.
And then
See,
after the
ranks
show,
me.
then
It goes back
it's
to
the other way
normal.
around.
That's right. We talked about the glasses. Where was it? Okay. We talked. Can I drive with no shirt on? That's not the one I wanted to answer, but
Sure.
but you can drive shirtless. In fact, anyone can drive shirtless, regardless of who they are. And I don't know how to. In today's day and age, I am flabbergasted as I do not know how to describe what I'm about to. Yeah, anyone can drive topless as long as they're not engaged in work. Because my understanding of topless, those that are female who are going topless can't do it in conjunction of work, even unless the laws have changed. Because it used to be that it used to be illegal for women to go topless, and then it became, if you read the law, I remember this from articles, that there was someone that opened up a car wash employing people who were topless that were female, and that was shut down because it was for work purposes, and that was not permitted. There you go. All right.
I want to see where you're going with that.
I'm so unhappy with the fact that I went there. Okay, oh no, we're not talking. Ryan Pin, as a joke, because he put a jokey face. If I break into a racetrack and do donuts, could I get charged with B&E but not stunt? Actually, that's yeah.
Actually, you couldn't get charged with B&E.
Really?
Well, it's break, enter, and commit the indictable offense of.
But what about just break and enter? Trespass? No, what is it? Trespass?
So you have to do it for the purpose of committing the indictable offense or attempting to commit the indictable offense. The criminal code says. So if you broke into if you were snowmobiling and you broke into a cottage because you had broken down and you went into a cottage to save your life, is there an indictable offense there? Were you planning to do anything? Are you going to steal something? Are you going to wreck something? Are you going to burn it? Were you going to? No, you weren't. You were going in there to save your life. So that would not be considered break and enter. It's break and enter and commit.
Okay.
Or intent to commit.
But you're just trying to save your life.
So if you commit mischief on the racetrack by doing donuts on it, if you are ruining the racetrack by doing that, then it's break and enter with the intent to commit or commit the offense of mischief.
Okay. I like it. I think we're done.
I think we're done.
But what is this question? I got to read it.
It's
here.
a long one.
It is. Oh. Okay, we're going to go here because it's about international licenses. So Toronto Police depends on where. Oh, this is answering somebody else. Okay, we'll leave it. You're answering somebody else's question. We don't need to cover it because you covered it. But I don't know if your answer is 100% correct. It isn't. I'm going to just cover it off. So somebody wanted to know, obviously, about people who are traveling to Ontario from other places like the United States. So if you travel here as a visitor with an American-issued license, you are covered here for the duration that you're allowed to be here as a visitor. But let's say, and then likewise, if you're from the Middle East, if you have an international license or a license from a foreign country that is accepted here, and there are very few that aren't. I think the vast majority of licenses internationally are. If you're traveling here from elsewhere in the world, you may be required, or as a visitor, you're allowed to drive for up to 3 months without an IDP, an international driver's permit issued, which is really a translation card. That doesn't apply to American drivers. They don't need an international license to be here, and they can stay for the duration of their visiting up to a year, driving with their U.S. license. Technically, it's 6 months less. No, it's 6 months less a day.
Yes.
6 months less a day that their vehicle can be here. But I think their visa, anyway, moving on. The bigger question or situation is once you become a resident, you're given 60 days to apply for an Ontario driver's license. You were given 30 days to register your foreign vehicle here once you become a resident, but 30 days for the plate, 60 days. I don't understand why, but that's what it is. And once you get an Ontario license, that is your license. You can no longer drive on your foreign license. So let's say you're from the Middle East and you don't qualify for a direct trade, because it depends on which country you are. The United States gets a license for license. Some other places may not, which means you may need to apply for a G1. At that point, whenever you apply for a G1, that is your license. You are no longer able to drive a vehicle by yourself, even though the day before you could have as a foreign driver. But your status changes and you're now governed as an Ontario driver.
You know what? I always now check when I'm stopping people that have a foreign license, even if it's valid because I always check and see, have you applied for your Ontario one? Oh, you have. Guess what?
A lot of people.
Thank you for this one, and here's a whole bunch of tickets.
A lot of people take advantage of that, and I understand the frustration behind it because they were driving for 3 months and or for 60 days or for 3 months. Maybe they were a visitor for 3 months prior to becoming a resident officially. So now they've been driving for 3 months. They're given another 60 days, and now they've applied for a license doing everything right, and they can't drive. It is what it is. I'm sorry to say. And you have to follow the rules, because if you get charged, not only are you not insured on that vehicle anymore, because you're not a licensed driver, you're looking for a big set of problems, not just tickets.
And your G1 duration will get extended as well.
It's bad.
Yep.
It's bad. All right. Thank you so much. You had a blast. It's 11:14. We went 15 minutes over, but you know what? It was for a good cause. It's for you. That's what we're here for. We're here to answer your traffic and police questions. We'll be back not tomorrow, but Thursday at 10 a.m. So, set your alarms, put it in your calendar, come back and ask us the questions we didn't get to. Of course, you can also go on to our platforms, ask us questions in the comments. We'd love to respond. So we'll see you when we see you. And I'll hit this button as I queue up the questions, the song, the magical, because we got to end with it, right? I think it's just required now that we always have the magical song from our friend, the uke in a toque. Yeah.
The uke in a toque?
That is the account on Instagram where you can. Where can I find what I'm looking at? Is it documents? What's going on here? I can't even find where I put it. Is it under traffic song? I changed the views. Come on. Maybe this is not supposed to happen today. Pictures? Yeah, there it is. So.
Of course there's some pictures.
Of course,
why wouldn't
the song be in pictures?
Yeah.
Okay. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you Thursday.
Bye, everyone.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt save your life indeed, and watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go.